Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is John Ebini Ode, aka Red Hound, and I create content on penetration testing, cybersecurity, and programming tools. Today we will dive into Python's Urllib.request library, and which is an essential tool for pentesters, and we will be exploring two use cases: creating a simple web scraper and performing banner grabbing to gather information about web servers. So let's get started. Now, before we move on, I'm going to introduce you to the Urllib.request library. Okay, now, so what is Urllib.request library? Now, it is a module in Python that allows us to send HTTP requests and handle the responses. It is perfect for making, let's say, a get or post request and downloading web content, or even building small tools like web scrapers and banner grabbers. Now, in a Pentesters toolkit, these skills can be extremely useful for gathering information on target systems. Now, okay, let me show you a simple request being made using the Urllib.request module. Alright, so over here I have my Python for Pentesters directory, which I have created already. So I'm going to create a file. Let's just name it nano tester.py. That is okay by me. So I'm going to import urllib. Oh, sorry for that. Lib.request here, and let's make a get request to the URL. HTTP. Let's just use python.org. You can use any URL or website of your choosing. So I'm going to try this request. This equals to urllib.request.url open. Let's put the URL here, and the response is equals to request.read. We're going to read it and we're going to decode it also. Alright, remember from the video Python socket for pentesters, I told you about why we deal on byte. Alright, so we're going to decode this. Alright, and print response. Alright, Control S, Control X. So I'm going to run this to show you a basic usage of the Urllib.request module. So let's run this and see. Alright, so this is going to connect to the URL http python.org. Let's wait for the response. Our script is done. Now, this is a simple example where we fetch the HTML content of a web page, in this case the http python.org. As you can see, it is pretty straightforward. Now, this is what we fetched from the URL http python.org. Alright, so that's just a basic usage of the Urllib.request. And one more thing before I go on, from the last video I made, Python socket for pentesters, I made use of Linux Mint and the Visual Studio Code, but in this case I'm making use of Ubuntu for this. Now, I guess you are wondering why. Now, this is because I have a web application built on my Ubuntu machine, which I'm going to make use of while doing this tutorial. So that is the reason I'm making use of this Ubuntu today. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to create the banner grabbing. Alright, so for that, let's start. I'm going to remove the tester.py. Okay, I've removed this file tester.py, so I'm going to create a new one. So let's say banner grabber .py. Alright, so before I click enter, let me show you the website which I built using C++, CSS, and HTML with MariaDB. Alright, so I'm going to open a new window here, and I'm going to I have it in this directory, CGI bin. Alright, so the name of the web application is a blog post management system. You can see the abbreviation here, blog post management system. So for that, I'm going to start my Apache, because the application makes use of the Apache web server. So I'm going to start the Apache. Sorry for that, Apache 2. Alright, so I'm going to enter my password. Right, so let's see if this is running. Alright, so it is running, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to make sure my MariaDB is running also. So MariaDB.service, sorry, think we don't have that, so let me just do this. So let's see if it's running. Status, okay, yeah, it is running. All right, so sorry for that, the typo. So I'm going to come to my browser here. I have this website hosted here. This URL local host thing CGI being right. All right, so I'm going to hit the enter key. Load, please be fast. All right, so it is loading. All right, so this is the web application which I built. Red Hound, my email. Sorry, just an email I just made up. So we have the blog. Then we have the contacts. We have also we have the sign up. This is where I sign in. So note, only the administrator is authorized to create an account for users. So the web application is just a blog post management system, and only the administrator is authorized to create an account for users. Okay, let me not go into much details. So we are going to make use of this my web application today for our Urllib.request tutorial. All right, so let's get back to Python for Pentesters. So I'm going to hit enter now. All right, so for this, let's import the Urllib, I think, yeah, dot request. All right, so for this, we're going to make use of a function. So let me start if sorry, what's we're going to do now? Okay, let me just start with the function. Define grab banner. All right, so let's just put a URL here. All right, so I try here in case of an exception. All right, so I'm going to make a request to this my website. This is the URL https localhost CGI being right. So what I'm going to do now is to come over here and I'm going to urllib dot request dot url open URL. All right, so let's response. Let me just complete this request. Let's just say user request, and let's name this server response, right? All right, so the response is user request. I'm going to read it, dot read, then dot decode. I'm going to decode this. All right, so now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to print the headers, right? Okay, so for that, this is going to be the response which I will get from this web application. That is the server hosting this, which is the Apache in this case. So I'm going to do something like server headers. All right, let me just leave this because I don't think we need this right now. What we are doing now, we are trying to grab banners. Understand? We're trying to grab banners from the web server. All right, so what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to do user request dot get headers. All right, so for header in headers, server headers. All right, I'm going to display this. Let's print f. All right, so this should go for the header name, and this sorry for that. All right, this should go for the let's say header value. Yes, so header value and this. All right, so I think we are okay with this. Okay, so and we're going to give an exception here, except urllib.error.http error as, let's just name this http error. Print, we're going to print it out. So I'm going to say error. Let's just give it this way. So I'm going to write the code of this error. So let's say http error.code. We are just going to display the code, and then reason. the reason for the error in case we come across an error. Let me just name this error code, and let's just call this error reason. All right, so this is going to be http error dot reason. All right, so I think we are good. And also let's catch a general error that is not a URL-lib http error. All right, so except what am I going to name this? Except exception. Let's just name the exception. So I'm going to print let's just print it out, exception. All right, so I think we are good. Okay, so I'm going to call this grab banner, and I'm going to pass in the URL https localhost cgibin index.html. This is the home page, right? All right, so I'm going to save this, Ctrl X, and I'm going to run this. Let's see, Python 3 banner grabber.py. All right, so I have an error here. So certificate verification failed. Sorry for that. So my site actually uses HTTPS, so I don't want to go into much details now because that certificate was self-signed. So I think my Python script is having issue verifying the certificate. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run the script using the HTTP version. The web application, before I forget to mention, it makes use of both HTTP and HTTPS. So let's make use of the HTTP version. So Ctrl S, Ctrl X. So I'm going to run that again. All right, so we have the headers here. So you can see I'm running, the web application is running Apache web server version 2.4.52. Other details like etag, connection, content type, and the rest. So these are the data that you see from this banner grabbing. You can also try this with other websites of your choosing by just changing this URL you have over here. All right, so what if I only want to know the server, the name of the server and the server version? What I'm going to do is to let's say if server in header 0. All right, so we're going to print the value of the server. So we're going to say header 0 and header 1. So let's do that, Ctrl X. So I'm going to run this again. All right, so we retrieved, that is, we filtered for only the server. All right, so that is how to carry out a banner grabbing for a website or web application. All right, so this is just basic, and this can also go a long way to help you in your activities as a penetration tester or as an ethical hacker. All right, so the next thing we are going to do right now is to build a web scraper. So next up, let's build a basic web scraper. Now this scraping is a way to automate the extraction of data from web pages, and it's a great way to gather information like links, forms, or any other element of interest. Now this is a simple version to get you started, and in this web scraping Python code which I'm going to write, I'm going to make it to scrape for links and other information. So we'll be extracting all the links from a web page, and in this case I'm making use of my web application, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to exit from here, and before I continue, let me see if I made any modification recently on this web application. So I'm going to run my make file here. So sudo make all. All right, I think I had some changes which I didn't save. All right, so it's compiling right now. Okay, yeah, so everything is fine now, so I'm going to exit. All right, so I'm back here. So what I'm going to do now is to let's create a script for web. Let's just name it webscraper.py. All right, so what I'm going to do now, we're going to make use of another library called html.parser. This library helps to parse HTML web pages. All right, so let's write the code. I'm going to explain that. So let's write the code. Import UI.request. So from HTML dot parser import HTML parser, right? Yeah. So now what I'm going to do now, let's create something here. If name is equals to main, so we're going to run this. That is, if this particular script is not imported as a module in another Python program, just run the script directly, right? Okay, so let's start. So here I'm going to create, let's just say web scraper. So I'm going to give it http localhost CGI bin index.html, right? Okay, so let's define the function here. Web scraper, right? All right, URL, the parameter there. So we're going to go ahead, try user request as usual. So we're going to, let me just cut it short. User request is equals to Urllib, sorry, dot request dot URL, I think, open URL. All right, so let's say server response is equals to user request dot read dot decode utf8. Okay, so now what next? Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now, since we are making use of the html.parser, we need to inherit this class here, HTML parser. So for that, I'm going to write a class here. Let's just name it link extractor, or what should I even call it? Let's just say web data extractor. Forgive me for that name if you don't like the name, but let's just make use of that. So I'm going to make it a subclass of HTML parser. All right, so now before I go on, HTML parser has some callback method which you can use for parsing HTML content. So I have them here, I have them listed here. We have handle, start tag. Now this deals with start tags like A for link, image, and h1 and the rest. All right, so we are going to make use of these three here: handle start tag, handle data, this handles general data, and this handles comment. Now this unknown DECL here handles unknown declaration, like unknown HTML tags, elements, and the rest. All right, so we're going to continue now. So I'm going to make use of that. What's the name again? Handle start tag. So define handle start tag. Now it takes three parameters. So a tag and the attribute. You know, a tag has attributes, right? So we're going to do that. All right, so now what I'm going to do here now is this. Let's look for links on this my website or web application. So what I'm going to do now is to say if tag is equals to A, that is for anchor, the anchor tag for links. So what I'm going to do here right now is I'm going to iterate over this here, so that has some values. So I'm going to say if for attribute in attributes, let's say if attribute 0 is equals to href. In HTML we have something like this for links. You can see something like http www. Something like google.com. This like something like click me, and so this is how it looks like. So if we find these attributes like href or any other attributes in this anchor tag, we are going to display it. Understand? So if now this is being stored, I don't know if this is a list or dictionary, but I think this is a list, so we are going to retrieve them. So if @0 is equals to href, now what we are going to do now is we are going to print the link. So we're going to say okay, print link, link. So that is any link we find there. So the next index is the value of this href here. That is the value, what it points to. That is the link. All right. Okay. So once we do this, I'm going to close this. Okay. So I think we are done with that. So the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to look for handle data. Like I explained, general data. So define handle data. All right. So this taking 2. So we're going to say print data, right? Okay, so we're going to print the data. So the next thing we're going to do here now is handle comment. Yes, so we're going to handle comment. So handle comment self data. Yes, you can name that anything you want. So let's say comments. Comments. So I'm going to say data, and I'm going to close this. So define, I think this is how it goes, right? Unknown ECL. So this also taking 2. Right. So we're going to print it out. Unknown declarations or tags, or let's just leave it that way, for tags. So we're going to print it out, data, and I'm going to close this. All right, so I'm done with that. So what we are going to do next now is we're going to, this server response here is the page content. Understand? This server response is the page content, or let's just change the name. So I'm going to say page content. So because we're getting the content of this index.html page. All right, so once we have it this way, I'm going to create, let's just say HTML classer. So we're going to call this class here web. I think that should be web data extractor, right? All right, web data extractor, I got that right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we are going to feed the content which we retrieve from this, page here to this class, right? So we're going to feed it I think page content. All right. Okay, so next thing we're going to do now is to accept urllib.error.http error. So let's just name this error. Printf error code. Let's name this error.code, and error reason. Let's name this error.reason. Right, so I'm going to close this. Made a mistake here, I didn't include the format. All right, so and for general errors, let's just capture them. I don't want to go into details of writing all the errors, all the errors, all the specific errors. So let's just work with this. Except exceptions as, let's name this so printf. Let's just print this out. All right, so let's see if we are good. All right, so I'm going to try this script right now. Ctrl X, Ctrl S. So let's clear that Python 3 web scraper.py. We have an error here. Name exception is not defined. Do you mean exception? Okay, I think, yeah, I meant exception. So I think that was a mistake on my side. So Control X, Control X. So clear the screen and let's run it again. Oh, sorry. I am a C and C++ programmer, so at times when writing code, I do forget that I'm working with Python. All right, so let's see Python. Name printf is not defined. Where again, please? Where? Yeah, over here and here. So where again and here also. Okay, I think that is all. I think I need to be careful next time. All right. So now this is the content of the web page. That is my home page, the home page of my web application, description, blog post management system. You can see we have it here, blog post management system. All right. So you can see the details here, and all right. So these data here are empty, so we have to deal with that. So let's deal with that. So I'm going to put something here. If data dot strip, yeah, if data dot strip, if it contains empty spaces, we are going to strip it. So strip, okay, so let's do that for also for comments also. If data dot strip, we're going to strip this also. All right, and I think same thing here. If data dot strip, let's strip this. So data dot strip. All right, so control X. So let's run that again. All right, so now we've gotten rid of those spaces, right? Okay, so now this is how to scrape web site or web application. All right, you can see the links. See one link here, localhost CGI bin. We also have another link here, admin exists.cgr. We also have another one here, sign-in.html. You can copy, we can decide to copy these and let's see, copy selection and then test it to see if that is a valid link. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open a new tab here. I'm going to paste this. So let's see. I think, yep, this is a valid link. You can see. So these are more information that you can get from scraping a website. Now, one more thing I need to explain to you is this. Now, whenever you are scraping a website, that is whenever you've written a script, just like this one here, to scrape a website, always take note of this comment. In fact, if you are going to write your own web scraping tool, you need to also add this callback method here to handle comments for you, because there are some web developers or some programmers that leave important details like password and username in the comment section. That is I mean, like in their source code, they normally use comments, so they can leave important details like password or username there. Okay, for example, let me show you what that means. I intentionally placed the admin password and username on this my web application homepage. You can see there is nothing like admin or admin password here, right? Nothing like that, but I left it in the comment section. So let's just see it like an oversight, right? So never you leave that out of your site whenever you are scraping for web application or websites. Always check the comment. All right, so we can see here comment, right? Config username. That means the username is I am the admin. See the username here, I am the admin, and the password as the username here, I am the admin, and the password as I am the admin here, right? So that's how to scrape for important details. Just go through the details whenever you are scraping a website. Go through the details like the data, link, and everything. This is not palatable, so that is, it's not beautiful to the eyes. You can also add your own customization like colors and the rest to make this beautiful. So we've gotten links, data, contacts, and other information here. All right, so Let me explain that code before I go. So now, what I used here is the web. What you have here, the class is the web data structure class. So now this inherits from the HTML parser, just like I said. And in fact, I think I've explained this already. So the handle start tag, handle data, handle comments, and unknown DECL are callback method of this particular class here, HTML parser, right? Okay, so that is it for today, and we cover two practical uses of Python's Urllib.request. That is Urllib.request. Forgive me for the pronunciation. We have the banner grabbing and building a basic web scraper, which we did today. Now, both techniques are great starting point for any pen tester looking to automate their information gathering process. And remember, the more information you gather, the better prepared you are for the next steps in the penetration testing life cycle. Alright, so if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more cybersecurity and programming content. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments below. Until next time, happy hacking.